Okay.
So yeah, obviously I want to just have a conversation with you. I know you've done this many times.
Quite a few.
Yeah, but I appreciate you kind of spending your Saturday for me.
Thank you.
Steve, will you just start off with saying your first and last name, just for my record?
It's Stephen, Stephen, Eimers. Stephen Eimers.
And where are you from?
Lenoir City, Tennessee, which is just to the west of Knoxville, near the Great Smoky Mountains.
Tell me just kind of about your family. Tell me kind of just a brief history of what happened with your family.
Well, we're from rural East Tennessee. We have 10 kids, 6 of them adopted, and we just live on a small farm. I'm a window cleaner, and on the morning of November 1st, 2016, our oldest daughter, Hannah, was driving on Interstate 75 when she hit a guardrail end called the Lindsay X light, and she was fatally pierced. The girl with her walked away without barely a scratch on her body. I asked my state representative just a couple of questions, and I learned that the X light had been banned before Hannah's accident for in-service performance concerns, and those 3 questions have sent me down a rabbit hole that has included multiple national news stories, a platform across the nation, and now with this decision in Maine, 18 states committing what I believe to be almost $70 million to replace this deadly and defective guardrail end terminal from the roadside.
Tell me about the crash. How did you hear about it? Tell me about that evening. What was that like?
Nothing prepares you for that. It was 6:49 in the morning. I was just finishing up my coffee, and I was about to head into the woods on a morning bow hunt. And at 6:50, all of a sudden, I learn I'm the parent of a dead child. Your world is completely flipped upside down in a moment. And then to discover that it was a defective product that killed her, that nothing prepares you for that. Nothing prepares you for that. So this has been a devastating blow to our family, and just an unreal 2.5-year experience.
And tell me about that experience kind of since. What did you do immediately following the crash and all of that surrounds such a tragic incident? Most parents would kind of shut down at that point.
What I did was, I asked these few questions. I asked just a couple of questions, and it led to another question and another question. I have testified before state assemblies. I've had press conferences with New York State senators in Albany. I've traveled across the country. I've done hundreds of news interviews. I have put billboards outside of a congressman's office. I have done a Super Bowl ad in Palm Beach County. I wrote letters to governors and state DOTs across the country, including Maine. And my goal is that no other family shares in the horror that the Lindsay Corporation has inflicted upon our family and dozens of others across the country. I don't want to see anyone in my position. I don't want them to experience this loss. I mean, when I have the data that I've collected and the statements from state DOT engineers across the country saying what they're saying, I have a moral obligation to act to prevent that next family from being in my shoes. There's way too many of us. There's dozens of us around the country.
Is that what keeps driving you, protecting other families?
Absolutely. I mean, in my worldview, I believe that life has inherent transcendent value. And that is why we adopted these 6 children. That's why that's what guides my advocacy. I believe in the inherent value of life. And that is what drives me, so that I know that these X-lights that are being removed in Maine, these X-lights that are being removed in Tennessee, California, and across the country are going to save many, many lives over these next 10 years or more. I mean, so yes, that's what drives me.
And with the, let's talk about the X-Lights in Maine. They are literally, they told me, are removing these because of other notes they've received from other states. There's enough doubt in their mind to remove them as a precautionary measure. What does it make you feel like after 2 long years of campaigning to get this off the road to protect other people, that a state like Maine is pulling it mainly, in one way or another, from you?
I appreciate that. You know, my last 2 replacements, California and Maine, are pretty special for me because, one, I mean, that's from sea to shining sea that I've obtained recalls. But this is also, you know, these are bold safety decisions that are being made. And, you know, I can't help but notice, you know, this is National Women's History Month. These were decisions that were made by female engineers leading the way in a STEM issue. These are historic decisions that are really, really bold leadership. As the father of 4 daughters, it makes me really, really proud. It makes me really proud. I'm honored that the state of Maine would honor the life and death of my daughter and allow her to be the piece of data, not a family in Maine, to make this safety decision. So I am very, very pleased. I think the people of the state of Maine should know that their DOT is placing the health, safety, and well-being of the traveling public paramount, and that is significant. That cannot be missed.
What do you think your daughter, if she was around, what do you think she would say?
I don't know. It's I've thought about that. I think she'd be proud. I think that the reality is what happened with her. I think she would expect justice, and that's why I've done what I've done, is because I think she would expect this, that we would act to protect life. And that's what we've done. That's what we've tried to do in honoring her life and death, act to protect others.
Do you think you've served some justice in her case?
I think we're in the process of doing that. You know, this has never been about revenge, but this is about justice. And so I hope that the Lindsay Corporation and the others that have inflicted this upon our family and so many across the nation will face justice. I'm confident they will face justice. But also the big key for me, more important, is to prevent another family from sharing in this horror. And with this decision in Maine, that's what we're seeing. We'll know that no family in Maine will experience this loss because the Maine Department of Transportation has acted to prevent that.
I mean, you can only imagine what you and your family went through. You don't want that to happen to anyone. Is that correct?
That's correct. I've made that call to families in Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Virginia, California, all across the country. I have reached out to families whose loved ones have been killed by this inherently defective, deceptively tested, unreported changed product. And I know now I won't have to call somebody who was killed or maimed in the state of Maine. And that is great. That is bold leadership.
And Steve, I know it's been over 2 years. You seem very strong. You seem very, put together, talking about such a tragic thing for your family. Does the campaign to keep this going, is that what's keeping you from kind of feeling internally sad? How do you get through it day to day?
I can speak in sound bites. I don't know. Faith. I have to be prepared for a 5 to 10 minute interview. You don't see me awake at night. You don't see me breaking down because I see something just small. Like yesterday, I saw a little instrument, a primitive instrument called a psaltery, and I lose it because Hannah played that, and that was special. So I can speak real well in sound bites, but when the cameras are off, I don't always have it all together, is how I put it.
So keeping Hannah's legacy alive, is that what's getting you through some of these media interviews?
I think some of it is that. I think some of it is really, again, just knowing that no other family is going to face what we have to face or what these dozens of families across the country are facing. I owe my full fidelity to those potential victims to act, and so that's why I engage repeatedly. That's why I would travel to North Carolina this last Monday. That's why I've traveled to Massachusetts, Albany. That's why I've done all this. It's not so much for Hannah. I believe I believe this is about these other families, and that's really my main goal.
What about traveling? Is there any aspect of it, if you're driving, you see guardrails on every stretch of every highway across the United States? Does that remind you of Hannah?
It does now. I hope there's a day that it doesn't. I hope that, Hannah was a pretty special girl. If a basic Google search will show you that, Burt Reynolds, his last movie that he ever made was dedicated to my daughter. She graduated at 15 and was at 17 in community college and about to go on to university. She had worked on a set of a film. She wrote novels. I hope there's a day that when Hannah's known for more than just that horrific product that killed her. So, it's difficult to drive down the road and I see every last guardrail. I can look at the silhouettes at night of the reflectors and tell you, okay, that's this product, that's that product. I hope there's a day that I can unsee this stuff. But not right now. There's 10 more states to go. There's 10 more states to go.
What do you have to say to the Lindsay Corporation? I know you said off the top you're not really blaming them. Is that correct?
No, I fully blame them. I believe they have deceptively tested their product. I believe, based on the emails and stuff that I've discovered, they have changed their product and made those unreported changes across the United States to the X-Lite guardrail that were untested and unreported. But what I would do is I would quote, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, a poet from Cambridge, Massachusetts, when he said, it's from the song, I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day, the wrong will fail, the right prevail, with peace on earth, goodwill towards men. They have developed an inherently defective product, deceptively tested it, made what I believe to be fraudulent changes. They're going to be held civilly and I believe criminally at some point responsible for their actions. What has happened here with the X-Lite is not much different than what happened with the Takata airbags or what we're seeing with Boeing. This is horrific misconduct by a large multinational corporation that placed profits over people. Period.
And Steve, you mentioned your faith. Is it even stronger now?
I'd say yes. I've experienced things that I can't explain apart from the supernatural. Getting on a plane with 40 seats and sitting down next to the vice chairman of the Transportation Committee of the United States Congress, a second congressman, and the chief of staff for the vice chairman, and having an hour-and-a-half conversation on a 40-seat plane when you had not even planned to be on that plane 3 days earlier, walking into a presidential event and being escorted to the front of the event and getting a letter onto Air Force One and having the president speak out about guardrail spearing in the Wall Street Journal 7 days later. I'm a guy from rural East Tennessee with 10 kids, 30 chickens, and a duck named Donald Trump. I'm not the likeliest source or person to be doing this, but I have had opportunities open up for me across the nation. I've walked up, shook the hand of the Vice President of the United States and raised this issue with him. I mean, this is not your typical, yes, of course it's strengthened my faith because I've witnessed the miraculous over and over.
Was it ever tested at any point through this?
You really struggle with the how could God allow this kind of evil? It's very difficult for me to reconcile how this happened, how people have been so depraved and been willing to dismiss safety and life over profits. That's a very, very difficult thing to reconcile. So that can shake your, that can really shake your faith, is how I put it.
Steve, what's next?
Massachusetts, there was a critical injury piercing there this last Monday. Governor Baker is, I'm going for Massachusetts, I'm going for New Hampshire, and these last 10 states are going to remove this deadly product from the roadside. Period. This is not open for negotiation. I will continue until I know that every X-Lite across the nation is slated for removal. That's what's next. So whether it's Florida or Michigan or Massachusetts or New Hampshire that removes next, I don't know. But they're all coming off the road.
Anything else you want to mention? Anything to say to Hannah if she was still around?
Just miss her. Yeah, I just miss her. And I'm just so glad that somebody in Maine is not going to share in this horror that the malice of the Lindsay Corporation and these other entities have inflicted upon our family. It's not going to happen in Maine, and that's pretty special. Thanks.
Well, Steve, thank you for your interview. I appreciate it.
When do you expect to air?
I'm shooting for Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
And I will text you throughout the whole way. And will you let me know when you're up in the Massachusetts or New Hampshire? Because we broadcast in New Hampshire as well.
Okay.
So let me know when you're up there, and I can maybe meet you somewhere and do a follow up.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great.
And then, will you also show me a picture of your dog, Donald Trump? Will you send me a picture of Donald Trump?
The duck?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, he's the world's third most famous Donald Trump. He's made features across the nation. I'll send you a text to Donald Trump the duck.
Thank you.
Thanks. You have a good day.
Hey, Steve, thanks. We'll be in touch, okay?
Yep, bye.
Appreciate it.